Hey there, welcome to another Lumio Live session. My name is Asha, and I'm joined with some lovely ladies that are Lumio lovers too. I have Mish and Lois. Say hello, ladies.
Hi.
Hey
And
there.
what are we covering today? Interactive math. This is going to be awesome for all the math teachers out there. Super excited to see what you have for us.
Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. I cannot believe it's already Tuesday. It certainly doesn't feel like it. My brain definitely thinks it's Monday. I hope everyone has had a good start to their week. I'm super pumped to do some interactive math with everyone today. And before we get started, I wanted to quickly talk about how April is super quickly approaching us. The school year is almost ending, like it's that weird in between, right? And so I think a lot of us are getting ready to start doing our cumulative reviews and thinking about recapping all the different strategies that we taught our students this year. And so my intention with this lesson was to kind of recap with some primary students all the different ways that they can add and subtract, and then tie in different things that they can do within Lumio to support them. So with that being said, let's take a look at some interactive math. So a few weeks ago, we did Immersive Reader, which happens to be one of my favorite features that we have in Lumio. And I think about when I was a kindergarten teacher, I would really go to different professional development and they would teach us a really cool method or strategy. And I think, how am I going to use this in my classroom? And immersive reader is one of those things where I'm like, okay, I can use it during language arts, but how can I also use it in other subjects because it's such a cool tool? So I know a few lives ago we talked about immersive readers. I really wanted to recap it here with some word problems. So as you see here, I've got my word problem. Max bought 8 apples, 3 oranges, and 4 bananas. How many fruit did he buy altogether? What if I'm working with some students that need some support reading this? So just as a reminder, on the left side of my screen here, I've got my little book with the little audio button, and it'll highlight for me what is available for me to access immersive readers. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my word problem here. And just to quickly recap all the different things that you can do in immersive reader, as I scroll over a word, I can get a quick little picture dictionary. It reminds me that this is what an apple is. Change some different text preferences here. I can also go through different grammar options and reading preferences, highlighting a line. I can turn off the picture dictionary if I don't need it. And I can also translate it to hundreds and hundreds of different languages here. So that is an awesome, just wanted to quickly remind you all that you can use Immersive Reader, not just when you're doing something that is related to reading. So with that being said here, I've got my word problem. And as you've noticed here, I'm just showing you the screen. And if you're logged in as a student, you can't really do much yet, right? So what I like to do is if you've got a group of students that you really need to have them listen to your instructions, I actually don't make my pages into individual handouts or whole class whiteboards until I'm ready with giving my instructions, especially with those little ones. So now that I'm ready and I know that you guys can do it, I would be able to go ahead and make this into a worksheet. What I've done here is I have my manipulatives as infinitely cloned. So as my students are working through their word problem, I show them they can go ahead and click and drag the different fruit to help them to solve my problem. So with that being said, for those of us that are live, if you'd like to join in, here is the class link. And I'll leave that on here for just a minute here. And then we'll get started. Join by going to hellosmart.com, and my class code is 181461. Alternatively, you can join using the QR code. And as teachers, we can also share that link within our Google Classrooms or any LMS that you use. So with that, now that I'm ready to release my students, I'm going to click right back to my little management tool and make this an individual handout. And then you're all able to get started. One other thing that I can do from here is I'm going to go ahead and put it into student pacing mode so that as you work through each of the problems, you can go ahead and scroll through the different slides to see that I've created a few different pages here for you.
I love the ease of use of this and what a great tool this is as well for students to practice at home and share with their adults or siblings like what they're learning at school and kind of share that excitement. And again, I can't tell you how many physical manipulatives my children have lost, so it's nice that no matter where it goes, we're always going to be able to use the manipulatives.
Exactly. Also, like, you make them fun, you make them fit to the problem instead of just using the connecting cubes or base 10 blocks. Why not make them the actual pictures? So doing them virtually really makes it a little bit more interesting. And I'll actually show you what I mean by that in a couple of pages here. But I'm going to go ahead and open up V's page here, and I can see how V is doing. All right. And something that I can do just as a recap from last week is I can actually give V some feedback. I'm going to click on my text button, click on the screen and say, great work, V, and just V sees that on her screen. So as I go through to the next one, I did something pretty similar here with subtraction. There, you guys can go ahead and drag out some clicks, and it's subtraction, so we can cross them out to visually show exactly what it is that we're doing. But what I would really like to show you is this page. I was very excited about this one. Say I, if you hear about Pokemon in your day-to-day in the classroom, how many times a day do we hear about Pokemon cards?
Hundreds.
Hundreds and hundreds. I actually had my friend teaches middle school in Chicago, and she started a classroom album of all Pokemon cards that she started to collect from her students reading during times they should have been paying attention in class. So this was a really fun way to bring in some math, make it virtual, and then also make it interesting for the students, which is super important because it definitely raises the motivation in class when they get to see their name in the word problems and they get to see pictures of their favorite things. So I went ahead and used a 10 frame, which is another strategy that they could use. And I brought in images of Pokemon cards. And in just a second here, I'm actually going to go into editing mode and show you exactly how I built this out.
Well, and I love that, Mish. And did you know how many Pokemon there are if you would venture to catch them all?
Please tell me.
Just a guess?
Oh, I don't know. Okay, tell me hot or cold. 135.
Cold. Frozen, actually.
Oh my gosh.
I
Okay,
feel
so
like there's
more or
more than
less.
that. I think it's more. I think it's probably like in the 500s or something like that.
Well, we're not doing multiplication, but if you multiply that by 2, you would be very close, Asha, because there are 1,025 Pokemon.
Oh my
That is a
gosh.
fun fact. Okay, so are there just like new ones always coming out? Like, tell me so I can keep up with the students. Like, how do I know? Are there new characters coming out, or they've always been in existence?
So originally, I believe there were 125. Correct me if I'm wrong, Pokemon people. I believe there were 125, but as they have different evolutions and different areas of the world are discovered, you discover new Pokemon.
That is so fun. I remember the era when I would like be like driving down the street and I'd see people with their phones playing Pokemon Go. What a time. So as you can see here, I'm going to quickly flip through these pages and then show you how I built these. I did an example with base 10 blocks. I did one with coins. And now what I would love to do is actually show you how I did that. So I went ahead and ended my lesson there for just a second. But let's see. I would love someone to come and tell me, give me an example of a word problem. What's something interesting that our kids might be into?
It's Taco Tuesday. What about tacos?
Ooh, tacos. Okay, so I'm going to use you as an example. So Lois went to dinner with her family and ordered, how many tacos did we order?
How difficult are we making this problem? Let's say 10.
I ordered 10 tacos. How many did we eat?
Well, Lois has a family size of 5, and if everybody had 2, how many were left over?
Okay. Making this difficult. She has, you said 5 people in her family. Oof, I don't know how to type today. How about that? She has 5 people in her family and everyone ate 2 tacos. How many tacos were left? All right. And I always like to have my number sentence at the end. There were blank tacos left over. All right. And then as you're building these, what you want to do is go ahead and lock these into place. The way I did that is I grab my text, click on my caret, lock it so that when my students are working on their page, that's left and locked in place and they're not messing around with that. So now let's add in some pictures. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my little pic icon here, images, and I've got my Bing Safe Search. So if I'm ever doing this in front of my students, I already know that these are great pictures. Let's do tacos. Maybe we can bring in some different. I always like to add the word clip art because those tend to come out really nice sometimes too. Okay, here we can do one of those. We can do one of those. And then what I'll do is I'll make it small, fit it into my little bank here. And then what you do is once you got them in your box, click on that downward arrow and then you've got your infinite cloner. And now my page is ready to go. Now, remember I said you can go ahead and make a page an individual handout when you are creating it. So I would do that by going into my magic wand and I can do that here. Or if I've got those students that really need to listen to my instructions first before I release them, that on the fly. But I'm going to go ahead and get an individual handout now. And that is how I created that page.
That was
That's
so
super
easy and
simple.
so quick.
I know that we've got, obviously, within Lumio, if you've played around with it before, we have our different manipulatives that are ready to go for you. And I can just quickly show that to you right here. If I go back to edit my lesson and add a page, right here, we have a ton of different manipulatives that are ready to go for you. We've got the coins, base 10 blocks, fraction tiles, clocks. The opportunities are endless, but I really like to take images and infinite on my own because, again, I really like to motivate my students with pictures that might be really interesting to them and relevant to those word problems. And with that, like I said, it is April, which means that we are getting ready to review for the whole school year. So if you are making a review activity as we head in April, go ahead and take a picture, post it on social media and hashtag Lumio Challenge. And a lucky winner will get a $10 gift card to a store of your choice. We'd love to see what you're all creating in your classrooms, everyone. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, everyone. This was awesome. I just love how easy it was to make that lesson and to make an individual handout and make it fun too. I love the Pokemon lesson. So great job.